see. Yeah, I can see people are in. Cool. We're going to get started. Welcome. This is the Power of Partnerships and Community-Driven Projects. And just rearrange my screen for my in-person attendees. Great. I'm Amelia Neptune with the League of American Bicyclists. And in a moment, we'll introduce our speakers and moderator. But first, just a couple housekeeping things. This session is being recorded. This is my opportunity to double check that that's true. I believe it is. And virtual attendees are all muted, so we'll ask that you put your questions into the Zoom chat anytime, and we'll get to them at the end, hopefully. And speakers can also type responses when they're not talking if you'd like. And then afterwards, we can bring the conversation over to Huva. So if we don't get to your questions, continue the conversation in the app, but just know that we're not monitoring the app chat during the session. If you're attending in person, we can try to have you audibly ask questions, or we've got note cards we can pass around to have me read them. And then closed captions are available. So if you're watching online, you can turn those on or off anytime, and encourage you to put the information on the screen in your Zoom name box. Before we introduce our speakers, I just wanted to give one plug. One of the speakers on today's session is a group we know about because of the League of American Bicyclists Community Spark Grants last year. And this is our mini grant program that is in part funded by the CDC's Active People Healthy Nation program, which we all heard about at lunch or right after lunch, and in part by General Motors. And we have funding from those two organizations to fund 18 mini grants this year. Last year we did 11, and one of them is one of the programs that you'll hear about from Laredo, Texas. So I thought this was a great opportunity to plug the Community Spark Grant and encourage everybody to apply for one of those mini grants before April 7th. So now I'm going to turn it over to our fantastic moderator, who I'm so grateful to for speaking, for moderating today, and that is Renee Moore from the Washington Area Bicyclists Association, WABA, here in DC, our local bike advocacy group. Renee, I will turn it over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amelia. So my name is Renee Moore. I'm the Outreach Director at the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. And today we have 4 amazing speakers who are going to be talking about the power of partnerships and community-driven projects. We have with us Marcella Uribe, she's the Executive Director of Laredo Main Street. We have Nicole Romanos, the Public Relations, Communication, and Marketing Coordinator with Harmony Public Schools in Laredo. Lisa Chi, the Health Promotion Specialist with the Navajo Area Indian Health Service, and Lauren Freeman with Riding for Focus Program Manager at Outride. So we're going to be starting with Lisa Chi and Nicole Romanos, or are we starting?
I think Marcella was going to go first.
Okay, sorry about that. We're going to be starting with Marcella and Lauren as our first pair that's going to be speaking about their partnership. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcella Uribe. I'm the Executive Director of Laredo Main Street. And with me, I have Nicole Romanos, and she is our partner in crime from Harmony Public Schools. And we're going to do a little bit of a presentation. So I want to share my screen. Let me look at this. Okay, so here we are. So very quickly, a little bit about background, who Laredo Main Street is, what are our primary goals with this program. We are one of the 11 recipients of the grant, and we're very grateful to have that grant particularly for this program. We are partnering with Harmony Schools. You're going to hear about their goals as well. Our recycle program, what are the goals for the program? What are we doing with teacher preparation, community outreach, and we're going to have in May a Biciclovia event. And then, of course, maybe if we have some time, lessons learned, like if you have learned any lessons from our presentation, we would like to hear about those because they are very important to us. So just not to keep going. So Laredo Main Street, we are a 501c3, a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to promote the economic development and revitalization of downtown Laredo. So all our focus is in the downtown area. So we were thinking about, okay, to revitalize downtown, we need to bring people to downtown. And also we need to be conscious about what are good practices in terms of urban design for downtowns in general. And some of those practices are alternative ways of transportation. And we thought cycling is an alternative way of transportation. Our kids cycle probably every weekend. We have a lot of children that use their bicycles, but they are maybe not very familiar with coming to downtown and using their bicycles or bicycling as an alternative way of transportation versus bicycles as just to be entertained or have fun or do physical activity. The other thing that we thought about when we were conceptualizing this grant was how can we connect with educational settings? Education is also a core value for us. Education is very important to us. So we thought, okay, how can we connect with educational settings? So we thought about connecting bicycles with STEM, with science, technology, and math education. And we thought about combining like the schools with the science, the bicycle as the science, like the science behind cycling, behind bicycles, and also all the health benefits that come with cycling, and all that prompts a lot of math and a lot of reflection on health. So we were thinking, okay, let's connect with a STEM school. So that's how we connected with Harmony. And you're gonna hear right now a little bit about Harmony. Nicole.
How about now? Is that better? Can you all hear me? Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to take those off now to talk to you all. Yes, so hi. So like Dr. Diva said, I'm Nicole Romano. So I'm actually representing Harmony Public Schools. For this partnership in specific, we use the Harmony Science Academy Middle School campus here in Laredo, Texas. So just a little bit about Harmony. Harmony's a 62 charter schools across Texas. And yes, we are very focused on rigorous, high quality education that's focused on science, technology, engineering, and math. So we do that, by at each of our campuses. And then if we can just switch over to the next slide. Just wanted to show the breakdown of Harmony of how we're structured here in Texas. So here in Texas, our central office for Harmony Public Schools is actually located in Houston, and we have each district level is by sections here in Texas. So we're actually here in Laredo, we're part of the South Texas district. And like I said, it just goes down, funnily down to where, the specific campus is Harmony Science Academy. So Harmony's mission is actually to prepare every student for college careers by providing a safe and caring collaborative atmosphere with high quality centered educational programs with emphasis, of course, as I mentioned before, science, technology, and engineering. And through this, through our mission, we actually have a section that's where I come in, right, with the partners in education. So this is how we ended up partnering with Laredo Main Street. So we, Harmony Public Schools, we welcome members of the communities to engage the classrooms as valuable partners. We work to achieve on a vision to lead our students from the classroom into the world as productive and responsible citizens. We develop and nurture relationships within our cities, education partners and stakeholders, which include organizations from a variety of industries which help our schools by providing priceless resources, which is just to say what Dr. Diva said earlier. Definitely when she approached me, because she's the one that approached Harmony and said, hey, we have this bike program. We want to include STEM in it. And I said, yes, that's definitely for us. So we're very happy to have partnered with them and to be able to help bring this STEM emphasis to this partnership with the help of our teachers, of course.
So a little bit about our recycle program goals. Number one was develop the knowledge and skills associated with bicycles and biking in school age students. So knowledge about bicycles and skills about safety, about using the bicycle correctly, and also developing their skills to be able to fix a bike that has been gently used. And this is important because we are connecting this program to our farmers market. We have the Laredo Main Street Farmers Market, and we want the kids or the children in the teenagers mostly in this program to be able to repair bicycles, conduct some maintenance, and disseminate information on safety and health. And also we wanted them to participate on the Bike to Market annual event that is in May. At the school, we wanted to connect with bicycles with STEM related content so they can learn about, calculating the distance between one place to another, or how long it's gonna take me if I ride my bike versus if I'm walking versus if I'm taking a car. So these are just reinforcement of concepts and ideas in terms of STEM related content. So we are preparing the teachers, and we are doing ourselves some teacher preparation into finding the connections between cycling and STEM concepts. I have a partner that is a math. She was a math professor for many years, and she was the one who was bridging the gap between these bicycle and STEM concepts. We also had our first teacher training on bike mechanics. Nicole, do you want to talk about it?
Sure. I'd be happy to. So yes, going back to that previous slide also, it shows, I'm not sure we actually added that picture or not, but we had maybe we didn't. Sorry, that was me. But there we actually had a picture. It was a real neat picture, I promise, I swear. But where we just had that picture or that class actually took place in our makerspace for our campus. So that makerspace is, for those that might know, right? This is where our students go and tinker, right? There's like laser machines, there's laser cutters, there's just different things for robotics. So we actually had some pieces there in that space to be able to kind of help and talk about the engineering aspect of it. So we're very lucky to have Ms. Bogush from our Harmony Science Academy campus, she is the engineer, right? So she was kind of speaking on that. And so just something like quick to talk about that. And then in this next slide, yes, we did have our friends from Twin Cities Cyclery. They're a local bicycle shop, come in and just kind of start speaking on the anatomy of the bike, right? Like what are the first things? And this is just really to train the teachers first to be able to then incorporate and maybe just bring a little bit more to the students, right? And how to explain that. So he was wonderful. He came in and just, explained, the ABCs, the air, brakes, and chains concept, to us. And, I personally, learned a lot just from that demonstration as well. He was just also talking about the mechanics, right, of the bikes too, right, about the tire pressure, all these things that we could tie into in a lesson plan form. So this also adding Twin Cyclery to the partnership, and so that was very helpful as well for more of a visual aid, right? Having the bike here, actually on campus, to be able to demonstrate that.
So also we had a community outreach by Harmony. So they were inviting the students and the Laredo community in general. Nicole, can you also explain this?
Sure. Yes, yes, of course. So yeah, so definitely another big part of partnerships, right? And showing that hey, they're working, or we want to bring attention to them, is obviously by announcing them, right? To the community. So in our case, from our school's perspective, we shared this flyer, with our students, within the classrooms. We shared it on our social media accounts. So did Laredo Main Street. Just encouraging students, like for middle school age and high school age and elementary, was really any age to come in to earn these community service hours for, learning more from this project. So we thought it was very important, to add this visual component, versus just saying it in the announcements, here at the school, saying, come and join this. Sometimes our students, even parents and teachers will, or even ourselves, right? We will pay more attention if we're reading a flyer, more visual. So that's why we added that here, just to show kind of what we did to help bring more awareness, and also to maybe a little bit motivation. Maybe some students that aren't normally interested in bikes, maybe they would get interested because they would want to earn their community service hours as part of their school requirement, and just bringing more of an audience to the bike community in itself.
Also, with this partnership, we had our annual event, Bike to Market, because we have a bicycle tour of our historical downtown, and May is the Historic Preservation Month. So in May, we were going to do our Bike to Market event. However, we went and present about our grant to the Laredo and Webb County Metropolitan Planning Organization. And they are very strong bicycle advocates. And they came up with this idea of, instead of doing a ride or a tour, maybe we can invite the community to come to a Biciclovia event. And the Biciclovia is gonna be a space that, like, we're gonna close an area in our downtown, and people will be able to bring their bikes at any age and ride around this area freely, safely, and also for a couple of hours. So for this event, we are partnered with City of Laredo, the Health Department, Parks and Recreation Department, and of course, the Laredo and Webb County Metropolitan Planning Organizations, and Laredo Main Street, and also our farmers market. I mean, we are the farmers market organization. We're gonna have like a whole campaign about come to the Biciclovia event and then jump to the farmers market. And in terms of the Harmony students, that day we're gonna have booths set up for them where they can provide the service of fixing these bikes, or just helping with some maintenance, or asking, like looking at the flat tires. So being able to give a little bit of maintenance that day, and also have some posters and some information about safety, about the importance of writing about health, all of this. Do you want to include anything that I'm missing, Nicole?
I think you covered it, but yes, definitely what we learned, through working through this partnership so far, is that definitely what's helping us, make it a successful event, of course, or partnership, I'm sorry, is the promotion, right? Is the word of mouth. We're doing all this hard work, and we don't put out the message out there, then bikes won't be used the way we would love for them to be used. So really, that's all I have to say. If there's any other questions, or Dr. Riva, anything else?
No, I mean, I think that we have covered overall, and we're gonna give some time. We're gonna be given some time at the end for questions. So if you have any questions, we will, of course, be happy to just to answer any questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reed and Nicole. That was wonderful. I see in the chat that people are inspired. The event sounds great. I'm sure there will be questions after our next two panelists go. So our next panelist for this session is Lisa Chi. with health promotion specialist with the Navajo Area Indian Health Service, and Lauren Freeman, who is the Writing for Focus Program Manager at Outride. So I'm going to turn it over to both of them.
Awesome. Thank you. Is audio okay? Can you all hear me fine? Good. And then you can see slides okay? Awesome. All right. So I'm Lisa Chi. I'm a health promotion specialist with Navajo Area Indian Health Service. And I'll actually be talking about local public health professionals like myself and how essential they are in ensuring inclusivity of Native communities and health-related opportunities such as biking. So if you're not aware of Indian Health Service or their role, Indian Health Service is actually a federal organization within the Department of Health and Human Services, and is responsible for providing federal health services to American Indians and Alaskan Natives. Relationships with federally recognized tribes was established in 1787 through the Constitution, as well as numerous treaties, Supreme Court decisions, and executive orders. But essentially, the IHS is the principal federal healthcare provider and health advocate for Indian people, and its goal is to raise their status to the highest possible level. So just, I'll actually be going over some of the factors that public health professionals need to consider when implementing local programming such as biking services, but also will provide information. So here essentially you have the Navajo Nation. Navajo Nation is one of the largest Indian reservations in the United States and consists of more than 25,000 contiguous square miles and 3 satellite communities, and extends into portions of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. The Navajo Nation is larger than 10 states in the United States. Some information on the Navajo Nation population that's important for the presentation today. Navajo Nation and off-reservation trust land population is approximately 169,688 with a median age of 34.2 years. This is actually a little lower than the US median age. Here I'd actually like to bring attention to the school age portion of the population, with approximately 24% of our population between the ages of 5 and 19. When we look at this on the public health end, essentially on our end, we see, we need to target children for preventative health services as they make up quite a bit of our population. The other factors that we're looking at here is our workforce, our human capital on the Navajo Nation. Approximately 41.3% of individuals older than 16 years on the Navajo Nation work in the education, healthcare, or social assistance sector. For us in the public health world, what this means is that we need to secure our largest workforce and get their buy-in, such as educational or healthcare or social assistance sector. Navajo Nation economic factors that need to be considered. 47.1% of children under 18 years on the Navajo Nation were below poverty level. And for us, what this means is that we need to look for ways to provide access to some of those non-basic need items, such as recreation or services that contribute to quality of life for our children who may not have access to them otherwise. On the Navajo Nation, we have various types of schools. It can get pretty complicated. We have schools that consist of both state, federal, and federally funded schools, including public schools, charter schools, Bureau of Indian Education schools, which is the federal end, and then also grant schools that receive funding from Bureau of Education. We have a total of 135 schools on the Navajo Nation. And for us on the public health side, is the need to account for the different types of policies and laws that may be in place for these types of organizations as they can differ. Also means that our schools may have to go through quite a bit of process to get any types of approval to receive any type of external services. And so for us, needing to consider that and talk through that. Other factors include most of our and all of Navajo Nation being rural by definition of the Census Bureau. Also, many of our roadways on the Navajo Nation are unpaved. Only about 14% of our roadways on the Navajo Nation is paved. And it can also get pretty complicated there. We also have federal, state, county roads, and then also tribal roads. And this is actually a picture that I took on the way to town. What this means for public health professionals then is considering where our communities are, what roads they need to travel, and essentially knowing that we need to bring any type of services that we want to implement to them. And so now I'll talk about how those factors contributed to being able to implement, Writing for Focus program on the Navajo Nation. As many of you have probably dealt with COVID throughout the past few years, that was also something that we had to deal with on the public health end, but also had to work through and being able to bring services to our schools and our students. In March of 2020, we had our first case on the Navajo Nation. And essentially a stay-at-home order was issued by the Navajo Nation. And this required many of our schools to shut down during around about their spring break. We also had Arizona State ask that schools go back in session without them being prepared for being in-person school. What that meant for us on our side is we were getting several teams together to be able to mitigate those strategies, but also to advocate for our students to stay home until our schools were prepared. We then connected with the Outride group and were able to connect and essentially, have our first meeting with them on some of the requirements of the program. We were able to identify schools and get those meetings going. And about May of 2021, we then were able to open schools, which meant schools were more likely to hop on board with us. In 2022, we were able to identify our first cohort of schools. We then had the regional training provided in March by the Outride group. And then, in fall of 2022, one school actually implemented. And hopefully in spring this year, we'll actually be able to see 3 more schools implementing. And so what does this mean, right? We saw all the factors that our communities endure and get through and are part of. But essentially what this means for, bringing a program such as Outride to Native schools is that it created the need to network and connect with schools and also local bike shops. We needed to ensure funding and receiving of the items were allowed by the schools, as those schools, again, some of them are federal, right? We also needed to ensure that schools could implement with a non-physical education teacher. Many of our schools on Navajo Nation don't have a PE teacher, but many projects and programs externally require it. So what this asked for on our end was that we needed to be able to advocate for our schools so they didn't get left out. We also needed to provide some support for transportation. We saw, how many unpaved roads, right? And then also not many schools probably have the ability to transport, 30 to 100 bikes at a time. We also need to be able to follow up and support and reminders with our schools. As well as being able to introduce schools to help them to connect community partners. It can be pretty difficult for our local schools to be able to reach out, but if they have someone like their local public health professional that they're familiar with, to be able to make that connection, they're more likely to come around and be a part of the project. Again, one school in fall where the program was implemented, hopefully 3 more in the spring here. This means a total of 115 bikes and helmets received by schools with training and support. And so far 18 students receiving programming, but that'll continue. And so looking at public health professional role, and why, you know, it may be important for you to connect with one if you're working with Native American populations is their understanding of the community's unique factors and the ways to address them or work through them. They also likely know key individuals in different organizations and are able to get their buy-in, and they've had that relationship with them established. The other is they're able to navigate all the factors with schools and being able to assist them in that process and support them either with skills that they may have missing. So that might be things like writing grants. Maybe they don't have data for their population to include, or they're unsure about how to complete the evaluation that's required by the organization. Public health professionals know how to do that. They're also able to advocate for schools and ensure their communities are not excluded and are included. And I think that's it for me. I'll actually hand it over to Lauren.
Thank you, Lisa. I think once you stop sharing, I'll be able to share mine. There we go. But thank you, Lisa, so much. Thank you to the League for the opportunity to speak on behalf of this wonderful partnership. Thank you to all of the attendees and my other co-presenters, but really, Lisa, thank you for your time and your dedication to getting more youth on bikes. I'm going to speak very briefly about Outride, but if you haven't gotten the gist of this presentation yet, based on the power of partnerships, I wouldn't be here without Lisa. And before I forget to introduce myself, my name is Lauren Freeman, and I'm the Writing for Focus Program Manager at Outride. And I'm just so excited to be here. I'm actually in DC attending the conference virtually and in person, and continuing this wonderful conversation about increasing access, partnerships, community building, and getting more people on bikes. And so through Lisa's partnership, we've been able to work together. And I looked at the timeline, and I can't believe so much time has gone by, and that it's taken a lot of effort, but I would happily say that it's been a wonderful journey working with Lisa, and she's been incredible at spearheading these endeavors on the Navajo Nation. And without her, like I said earlier, I would not be here. So thank you, Lisa, so much. I keep telling you that, and I'm going to keep saying that. Outride is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're dedicated to improving the lives of youth through cycling. And I also got really jazzed to hear about our Laredo friends. We're doing similar efforts in a different way. We are excuse me, this is confusing me. There we go. We believe in empowering youth to improve their socio-emotional cognitive health. And we work through different programs. My wonderful colleague, Esther Walker, presented yesterday on Brains on Bikes, and she oversees the research component. My program is called Writing for Focus, which is what I'll be speaking about today. And my other colleague, Chaz Robinson, he is the manager for the Outride Fund. So I will drop more information in the chat, but in case you're wondering more about our programs, here are 3 pillars. So Writing for Focus is a cycling education program that can be obtained one of 2 pathways. Schools or nonprofits can be granted a program. And if you are granted a program, you will receive a fleet of specialized bikes, helmets, basic cycling handling, and traffic safety curriculum. You'll be receiving program support from myself and data collection and program evaluation from Esther. And if you are unable to receive a grant, you can also purchase the program. We did provide schools in the Navajo Nation grants, and so they have received this program in full in various locations. And in case I don't say this later, deadline to apply for this grant closes on April 28th. And so you can please contact me after today's call to hear more. Additionally, like our friends in Laredo, we also provide teacher training. Last year and the year before, we went to GALLUP, New Mexico to really support teachers on how to teach youth how to ride bikes. And this was a fantastic, most fun was had experience. We were in GALLUP and got all the teachers out riding, doing the basic cycling skills. We had a lot of laughs, did a little trail ride. And I promise not one person came back sad. You know, we got a bunch of teachers on the bikes and they came back to the classroom out of breath, engaged, ready to get their students rolling. And that was a really great experience. We will be offering this experience again in GALLUP, New Mexico, but also regionally in California as part of the grant process. So please see me if you're curious to hear more about that. This is an all-day endeavor where we support our teachers and go through the curriculum and make sure they feel supported before embarking on the program and the curriculum. And lastly, in case you wanted to find out more, we have a bunch of awesome resources ready for you to download. We have a beautiful research report that Esther has created, summarizing and disseminating the conclusions she's found from Writing for Focus and what the students are saying about the program itself. So please feel free to download the report, check it out, go on our website, and also email me whenever you have time. And that's it for me. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Lisa. We need to give them a hand. That's awesome. If you have been trying to figure out how to partner with people, with organizations, this is definitely, these are two that you can definitely model. So we have a few minutes for questions. There was one in the chat that came up, so let me ask that one first. How can private companies contribute meaningfully to community-driven, community-based partnerships?
Can I just start? Is
Sure.
that okay?
Absolutely.
I think that, I think this grant was, like the grant that we got was part of a private company, like facilitating the money to the league. And then we applied, and I know it sounds like a little small. It's fine, like it's not a lot of money, but it helped us to help the teachers come to the professional development. And I think that that little incentive, even if it's not a lot of money, really help for them to maybe cover some expenses for babysitting, maybe paying gas for that day. I don't know. I mean, whatever, it is really useful. And also for us as a nonprofit organization, it also helps us to facilitate the entire Biciclovia event. We can pay for water, we can pay for a couple of tents, like if we have to rent something out, it helps us to, there's even a $100 fee to close the road that day that we might have to pay ourselves. So, like these little expenses, and being a nonprofit is also very helpful for us. And I think that any private company can help support these programs. It will be very important because they do make a difference to us.
Thank you, Dr. Uribe. I have a question. I don't see any others in the chat, so I'm going to ask this real quick. You actually approached Harmony Public Schools. If we were to do it the other way around and an organization were to approach a Main Street, what would that look like for a Main Street, for a nonprofit to approach you?
I think that it depends on the Main Street program that they approach, but in our Main Street approach, we have four main core things that we cover in Main Street. One of them is promotion of the downtown area. So anyone that would like to make an event, that would like to have a partnership with a Main Street program, they can appeal to the promotion of the downtown area through this type of bicycle events. The other thing is, of course, urban planning and just looking at your downtown area and how things move around, right? Because we all promote walkability. We all promote alternative ways of transportation, so they can appeal also to that, to a Main Street program.
Okay, thank you. Were there any particular challenges that any of you faced? I'm going to direct this to Lisa. Mentioned a lot of things like being in a rural area, the roads. Is there anything else that came up that was a barrier or a challenge for working with Outride and getting the bikes and everything to the kids, to the students?
I think, and I can mention one maybe that's continuous and kind of ongoing with all projects and programs that tend to want to come in. And one is paying for the time of the coaches and the staff. I think that that's something where even on our end, we're still trying to troubleshoot because the staff time, it's important, right? They put in the work on, taking kids out for rides, teaching them, especially if it's after school. They also probably are doing a lot of the maintenance work too with the bikes. And so I think that that's one area that we continue to see in any type of programming that we try to implement is the need to be able to support those teachers or coaches financially for any type of extracurricular work that they're doing. But I mean, otherwise, I think we've got and addressed a lot of, the factors that have come up. The other, I think that was kind of mentioned is the need for bike shops. On Navajo, we actually don't have any bike shops. And so oftentimes that means that we're having to look outside the Navajo Nation and trying to identify even, bike shops, bike programs, bike anything. And so for us, we're really locally trying to increase the bike infrastructure. So.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Lauren answered that question. There was a question in the chat, who's eligible for Riding for Focus grants? Lauren, do you want to just mention it? I see you put it in the chat. No, okay. All right. She has middle schools, nonprofits who are serving low income, high percentage of students are eligible for the Riding for Focus grant in case you want to apply. And that close date is April 28th, if you want to do that. Great, thank you. Dr. Uribe and Nicole, I guess, let me ask you, what you mentioned about the ride to market, the bike to market. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how the students are engaged in that and who else is engaged? Is it a community event? How does all that work? And then what does it cost you to produce an event like that?
So I can talk a little bit about the student perspective as far as how our students would be involved or the plan is for them to be involved. It's two ways, right? One is going to be like Dr. Rivera said earlier about having them, at a station, fixing, tinkering with the bikes, adding air, like, in that component. But we also want some of them, by the point of the event, to already be riding the bikes, kind of to be promoting even, I want to say something, where we would call it from our end, like a bike club, right? The Harmony Science Academy Bike Club will be participating in this event. Now for the event itself, and I know Dr. Rivera will say a little bit more about that, but it is a community-wide event. So what we're just trying to do here is say, kind of even nudge like our neighboring school districts, right? And other charter schools here locally saying, hey, Harmony's doing this. They have a bike club, they have their kids out there helping with this event, should our kids be involved as well. Just kind of, that's kind of the way we're envisioning it. We did invite, we did try to reach out to other schools and organizations, but sometimes it just takes that first person taking the bike for everybody to come on over and want to ride the bike too. So again, from our end, that's kind of what we're seeing with the students and how we're helping Laredo Main Street. And it's been a lovely partnership so far. It's been a lot of give and take and meeting at different hours and texting and calls, but it's been fun and enjoyable so far. She's been a delight to work with. So Dr. Eva, anything else you want to add to that?
Thank you, Nico. Likewise. So, I mean, for this event, particularly this event, we're also partnering with the health department and with City of Laredo, Parks and Recreation. So that event is going to be very special because health department are also promoting the event. So they are trying to bring this healthy living, healthy, active lifestyle to the front forward because we have a big obesity problem in our community. And we also have a lot of people with diabetes and high blood pressure problems. So I think the health department, when they learn about the project, they just jumped into it and said, yes, we want to support this and we want to do it with Laredo Main Street. And we are doing it in an area. It's an area that also it's open enough so people can ride safely, and it's from ages 0 to 99, right? So people, if they don't want to ride a bike, but they can have a stroller, just have their babies in the stroller, they can just walk around. Or if they want to ride for a long distance, there was a requirement of it being like 3 miles of distance, so people can ride for like that long. So I mean, it takes a ton. It takes a lot of engagement and coordinating and community partnerships. So to make an event like this, and of course promotion or all of that, that's very important too.
And I think, just to add on to that also, the Laredo Main Streets, what they're trying to do too, it's also the way we're located and, right by the border. So the way that the event itself is also set up, people can see the river. There's like an area within the farmers market too, so people can bike right by the river. And it's just, it's just like another way to even, help promote the downtown area, people that might, not take advantage of that. So just wanted to add that in there also.
Thank you, Nicole. So we're at our time, but before I go, I just want to say that Dr. Uribe is joining us from the National Conference of Main Street Organizations. So there's a lot of Main Streets out there waiting to partner with your organization. So you definitely want to look into that if you get an opportunity to do so. And to also give a plug again for Amelia. She mentioned earlier that the League has a mini grant program, the Community Spark Grant, which is accepting applications through April 7th, which is the week after next. So make sure you apply for that as well. I just want to thank all of our guests today, all of our panelists for joining us for this panel. And I'm going to turn it back over to Amelia.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, I wanted you to hear the applause from the room here. Thank you everyone so much for joining, and a huge thanks to our speakers. Really wonderful and inspiring to hear about your work and your partnerships. And I hope everyone here attending live or virtually is inspired to go find their public health department, their local schools, their Main Street associations, and partners in the bike industry, bike shops, bike advocacy. This is a group effort and we can't do it alone. So I hope you're as inspired as I am to go find those partners in your community. With that, thank you, and we'll see you all for the plenary at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Take care. Bye.